Country Today.
In Ohio Country Today, brought to you in part by the following: Koenig Equipment, the Ohio Soybean Council, Allen Davis Insurance Agency, True Point Cooperative, the Ohio Department of Agriculture, the Ohio Corn Growers Association, Allied Environmental Group, Poet Biorefining in Lipsick, and Rural Community Insurance Services. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of In Ohio Country Today. We're in beautiful Lancaster, Ohio, in Fairfield County. This week, in Ohio Country Today, we visit the Ayers family farm in Mechanicsburg and catch up with Bonnie Ayers. We also have a special farming fast fact featuring the Ohio Poultry Association. And we have your Koenig Care Minute, along with your partner in the field. All that and more this week in Ohio Country Today.
Fuel field, a poem. You think your fuel comes from oil fields, desert sands, and faraway lands, but it also comes from a different kind of field, from my family's field. Give me a little rain mixed with a little sun. I'll give you plenty of food and fuel to boot. And I'll do the same thing tomorrow. I'm Darren Johnson, part-time farmer, full-time poet.
Hello, everyone. We are at Land of Living Farm. That's in rural Mechanicsburg, Ohio, visiting now with Bonnie Ayers. Bonnie, Land of Living, your farm, your dairy farm here. Tell us a background on that name. It has a story.
Oh, yes, it does. My mother and father-in-law were born and raised in Kansas during the Dust Bowl time. When they started courting one another, they would meet in railroad stations. Then after they were married and still in individual jobs, they met, came here to Ohio, and selected a farm that they thought was truly the land of living things. And that was way back in the 1930s. So we've always kept that name to honor their presence in our lives.
Well, the dairy operation that has been carried on by you and your husband, John, and your three sons has earned you an award during the Ohio State Fair in 2011. First of all, congratulations, and tell us a little bit about going into the Dairy Hall of Fame.
Well, it's the Ohio State Fair Hall of Fame, and both my husband and I cut our teeth at the Ohio State Fair as kids in 4-H. I started when I was 10 years old, so this will be my 50th anniversary at the Ohio State Fair. We showed cows, we met good friends, we learned great experiences. Although there's an age difference between us, we didn't know each other till later on in life. But what we did know is that we both had a great fondness for the Ohio State Fair. And now, all these years later, and having supplied hay and straw and feed and cattle and the milk a cow and exhibited and had several champions, it's nice to know that maybe they liked us too.
Well, now, you like telling the story so much that you are an extension educator at The Ohio State University, and with that you get to work with a lot of students, and that, I'm sure, gives you a lot of satisfaction carrying on the ag and the dairy story to another generation.
Absolutely, and what I can tell them is also an education method that they can follow or lead by example, and it's the greatest job in the world. Great kids, wonderful people to work with, people who appreciate us, and then that opportunity to be a link to the consumer. You know, we're getting more and more generations remote from agriculture, so we're going to have to do a better job of telling our story. I always say it's common sense with compassion. That's how we take care of our cattle.
Bonnie, let's talk a little bit about the dairy operation here. The kind of cows you have for the dairy operation, the numbers, and some of that kind of statistics, if you will.
Well, you're not talking to the main cog in the dairy operation. I've been the person who's had the off-the-farm job, but yet I have responsibilities around the farm here too. We think that my husband is the brainchild, and we've been lucky to have a young son come back into the operation with us, and all of our boys that have a great interest in agriculture, especially dairying. So here on our farm we have lots of ways to house and take care of cattle, and we'd like to think that we kind of have specialties for each cow and how she is a part of the herd, her role in the herd. So we're milking close to 120 cows right now, just went after 36 more to bring back into the herd. The operation has grown, it's been expanded. We have lots of variety of housings to meet the individual needs of all the cows. So we're dairy farmers through and through, and we care for our cattle, and that's not just a 9-to-5 job, that's 24/7 holidays, weddings, even when you would like to call in sick.
Well, I understand that you've, I guess that's one of the reasons that you say that, especially in a dairy operation, you sacrifice to have a good operation.
Oh, absolutely. There are many times when the cows take high priority over the people who are involved. But because we're used to that, that does not come at the high price it might to others who do not understand our lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. When you deal with living things, you have ultimate responsibilities that you can't shut the door on. You can't shut down the computer. You can't delete a file, although there are things that we'd like to forget sometimes. But on the farm, the difference between life and death can be this close. It's a rewarding lifestyle.
Well, I want everybody to know that I called up Bonnie a day before we have come out here to actually do this video work, and this is the way the farm is. They haven't had enough time to change anything, so what you see is really the operation, and you pride yourself on keeping it clean and this kind of an operation every single day.
Absolutely, because cleanliness will also indicate the values that you have for your cattle, and it connects to being comfortable, it connects to our good health, it connects to the presence when people drive by, and especially with our niche product being marketed off the farm now. That's what people really crave to see. We've grown up a generation who's looked at the comic books that portray us as old McDonald's farm. Well, I don't have on gingham and I don't have pigtails, but there is sometimes that image, and if it gets larger, sometimes people don't trust that. But they should, because we take a lot of care and concern, and we have to grow to that step, not quickly, but we have to take it one step at a time.
You know, Bonnie, you have shown us some of the older buildings from when the farm was in its many years ago, and some of the newer buildings. Actually, I guess husband John is given credit for a lot of the design work and the new needs and putting together airflow and different things that a lot of people wouldn't think about.
Well, he's multi-talented when it comes to those things, and because he loves the business, he wants to learn more about it. There's a lot of reading, a lot of consulting, extension educators, sometimes even his wife on rare occasions, or probably a lot, let me say that fairly. But he loves doing those kinds of things. He's a product of what we've been taught, that we must be educated to be progressive. But it has to fit in what he likes and what he feels comfortable for, and that bottom line, the financial needs, and he's very gifted at that, much more so. It's not an area I delve into at all. He is the sole person when it comes to those items.
Now, when you have milking 120 cows as you are right now, that allows you to know those animals almost on a, well, actually, you know their names, their mothers, their grandmothers' names, and everything about them, who won an award at the state fair. And it was sort of amazing for me as we were walking the barns, and you would point out the grandmother and this and that. That's something that you pride yourselves on.
Oh, that's knowing our cattle, and because I do some of that record keeping, especially with all the calves, and knowing and name them, and because many of them are purebred cattle, you develop a relationship. Let's call it that. It is a relationship with them that carries through their life the beginnings, the endings, and all the things in between. Some of them you know better than others. It's the same way with an educator in a classroom and a mother who has 19 kids, perhaps. We learn those things, but by learning and knowing the animals, that makes us better at what we do.
Well, you know, as you're looking at the cows, and as we were having a chance to talk about the individuals, I noticed that the cows are so tame and they're very hands-on. You actually walk the stalls, you put your hands on them. In fact, they make friends with other animals on the farm.
Well, it's a symbiotic relationship. We can say that for sure. But that's also attributed to the employees, Tim and Darlene, that you say here. They have and respect the same values that we have for our cattle. We couldn't mistreat them and expect them to be a profitable venture to us. They get the extra care and attention and spoken to. And sometimes you can walk by a barn and wonder who they're talking to, and you realize we're talking to the animals. That's our care and respect for them, and it's given back for us. It's good.
Now, most dairies in the United States would have possibly just one breed that they are working with, but in your operation, you have a couple of different breeds and even some crosses.
We are an equal opportunity employer, you know. If you can make the cut here, that's cultural diversity. And no one breed has ever serviced the needs of everybody. We all walk to the tune of a different drummer, and we just like having several drums, so to speak, here on the farm. And they all serve a purpose, and it's good for us. We like that variety, and yet some people are very singular, and I respect that too. But for us, we've gotten into different cows, different ventures, and different breeds for different reasons. But the hearts belong to the cattle, to the cows themselves. It doesn't make a difference where her herd book is registered at.
Now, you've advanced and branched out, so to speak. A niche market has been utilized. Can you tell us briefly about that?
Well, that was always a passion and a dream of our youngest son, Lucas. Let's make ice cream. He always wanted to. I remember him talking about that when he was in high school and when he was in college. And then after the necessary research and investing in it, that dream for him became a reality. And I guess we all played a role in it, in what happened to make it viable. But he's the ice cream man right now. Let's give him just credit. We work on different ventures together because I've been more of a cook maybe than he has ultimately. But we have a very nice joint venture, but due credit is given to Lucas on that.
For more information about today's show or to suggest a topic, fax, call, or email us today.
It's time now for Your Partner in the Field, brought to you by Allied Environmental Group. Innovative, customized, and site-specific. We're Allied Environmental Group.
Welcome back with Your Partner in the Field. I'm Gary Jackson, and today we're talking with Ben Seibert. Ben, let me ask you, why do we need a nutrient management plan?
With the things changing and some of the new regulations that's out there, there's more requirements. There's things that we're having to do now that are being watched and monitored. So to make a good nutrient management is going to assess the field and to properly satisfy the needs that are out there now. And now we can also use the production zones. We can place the right product into the right production zones.
And basically what we're talking about ultimately is increasing the bottom line of the farming operation.
Yeah, increasing yields is the bottom line, and how are we going to be able to do that under some of these tight restrictions? And that's one thing I think that Allied Environmental can help, is to place the right product in the right area and to satisfy, these mandates that are expected of us.
Your Partner in the Field has been brought to you by Allied Environmental Group. For more information, visit our website.
Farming Fast Facts. Facts.
Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today. With me I have Jim Chikaris with the Ohio Poultry Association. Jim, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I work for the Ohio Poultry Association. We're headquartered here in Columbus, Ohio, but represent poultry, egg, turkey, and chicken farmers all across the state of Ohio. Poultry consumes over half the soybean crop in the state of Ohio and a good portion of the corn, and there's lots of people that are employed, so it's bigger than just the farm. But when we get back to the farm level, it's just farmers producing a good quality, wholesome, safe, affordable food product for today's consumer in the best way they know how.
When you talk about the large amount of Ohio products that the poultry industry uses and produces here in Ohio, can you give us an idea about how many egg layers we have and that kind of thing right here in the state?
Sure. We are second in the country in terms of egg production. There's about 28 million laying hens in Ohio, and we're 11th in turkey production, and there's a whole lot of chicken that's produced in the state of Ohio, and most of that stays here in Ohio in our markets and helps to feed hungry Ohioans.
About how many bushels of corn and soybeans do the poultry producers of Ohio use on an annual basis?
I don't know the exact number, but I know that we're using over half of the soybean crop and about 25% of the 25% of the corn crop in Ohio. So it's a lot. I'm sure somebody out there can do the math, but I'm not sure of those total bushels.
Jim, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Privilege anytime.
We'll be back with more in Ohio Country Today right after this.
Farming Fast Facts. Facts.
This is Ken Koenig from the Koenig Care Minute, reminding you that if you need parts, service, or product support, or that new equipment, don't hesitate to call us at any one of our locations or visit us on the website at koenigequipment.com.
It's time now to take a moment for safety.
We're talking about ATVs. This is something that's just not found on the farm anymore. I mean, people are driving them around in the city. People are having them as recreational vehicles that they're taking on weekend trips all over the United States. How important is it for us to talk about not only the age, but the equipment and everything else that's involved in operating this equipment?
The equipment that you use while operating these is you got to have it. In a heartbeat, something can happen. If you're not properly accessorized, and I'm not saying all the fancy garb, I'm talking the helmet, the goggles, chest protector, that sort of thing. These are things that are needed. These are things that can basically save your life. It's that simple. It's a have to have.
Let's talk about the fact that they're the different ages that are hopping aboard these things. They're not just for the teenager. There's young adults that are hopping aboard these things for various reasons, sometimes for work, sometimes for pleasure. So it's important for them to be suited up properly and to also have the proper training on the vehicle.
Exactly. The proper training is a very big thing. Most of your dealerships will offer training. Maybe not through that dealership, but regardless of which dealership it is, their corporation will offer some type of training. And it's very important that they realize what is behind these things. These aren't toys. I can't emphasize that enough. These are work vehicles. They're recreational vehicles. No different than anything else. They can hurt you.
We talk about the variety of vehicles that are out there, too. We just did a recent story with Koenig Equipment, which, of course, is our John Deere dealership here in our neck of the woods. And, of course, the new Gator that's out there is as powerful as some sports cars, if you will. Let's talk about the variety of different ATVs that are out there.
There are very many out there. You have basically 3 different options you can go with. Now, the children, the younger ones, you got to be careful because the recommended age is 13. Then you go to 16, and 16 above, you're pretty open to ride whatever you want to ride. Also, along with John Deere and the rest of them, they've come out with the side-by-sides, which is the MUVs. Those are turning into mini trucks, lack of better words. And like you said, they are very powerful. You have the rollover effect. Again, they need to understand what they're climbing in. They are not toys. They may seem like a toy, but they're not toys. They can hurt you just as fast as anything. So you got to watch what you're doing and be educated of what can happen.
What are some of the different resources that families can turn to besides the dealership when they want to get aboard one of these and kind of train their family members on how to use this equipment?
There's various educational government groups out there. I believe Department of Natural Resources offers some basic safety courses. Majority of what is out there, though, is sponsored by the various different manufacturers out there. Some of them offer free training. Some of them, it's a very small fee to do it, and it's very well worth it. And it's irregardless of whether it's this, a dirt bike, or a motorcycle, you need to be aware of what can happen out there. And these people are very good at what they do, and they will tell you what will happen out there. You may not want to hear it, but you need to.
Hey, Joe, how long have you been riding these?
I started riding when I was 14. Obviously, that was a couple years ago. I've been actually in this business for over 18 years, so I've seen the full aspect of it.
For more information about farm and other safety tips, visit our website.
American dollar, a poem. There's nothing greater than the American dollar. Built the Empire State Building, built the Sears Tower. The dollar is still building the tallest buildings in the world. It just built one in Dubai. $250 billion a year for foreign oil will go a long way. I'm Steve Ross, part-time plant manager, full-time poet.
And now, in Ohio Country Today, news and information with Alan Davis.
Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today. With me, I have Natalie Lehner, Communications Director with the Ohio Corn Growers Association. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Certainly. One thing people don't realize is that most of the corn growing in Ohio is field corn. Only 1% is actual corn that you would eat, sweet corn, popcorn, things like that. So with the majority of the corn crop, it goes towards animal feed, and then it goes towards ethanol, and then it goes towards different uses. Exports are after that, then other uses. Other uses can be in your pop. So high fructose corn syrup is in here. High fructose corn syrup has kind of gotten a bad name because of food activists that think it's chemical, when in fact you just get the sweetness from the kernel of the corn. It's not chemically made. It's the same as sugar. The reason why it's used is because it's in a liquid form. It works better than using sugar, and it's cheaper. Everybody's looking out for their bottom line nowadays. So when you have the high fructose corn syrup, you also have things like the proteins and other parts of the kernel can be used for plastics. It's not the proteins, but the starch of the corn can be used for things like plastics. This is made out of corn. This is from the Longworth building for the House of Representatives in the United States Capitol. And this says made from corn. We put some corn in it to show that. But what it's done, what they do is they extract part of the kernel, make it into a resin, which can be in bulk. Those little resin balls are melted down to form a plastic, and you put it into that shape. This has corn in it. It's an ethanol. It's also a cleaning product, and it's good for the environment because it's not a lot of chemicals. People get their chemicals confused. They think that things from corn are chemicals when they're grown, in the environment. Something like this here, we have these are packing peanuts that you would, if you get an item from something when you order it, something breakable. You would use these, but not all of them are made from this. Now, the importance of using corn instead of a petroleum product in these is that this will biodegrade. You can put it into water and just watch. I do this with school children. You stir it around and it goes back into the water. It's nothing. Well, we also have cornstarch, of course. That's made from corn. And then, the cornstarch helps with cakes and things, helps them stick together. We've got more plastics here made from corn. There's a plastic plate over there. This shirt is made from corn fibers.
What do you see in the future? Any as far as new products or other uses that we might see coming down the pike for corn?
I think that maybe more people will catch on to becoming environmentally friendly and use more things made from corn. We can make ballpoint pens, the casings for them made out of corn. You're seeing that a lot more because it's, I wouldn't say a trend, but a fad. And a fad is something that sticks around for a while. You'll see that more uses for ethanol. We are helping to push for higher blends of ethanol in the gasoline supply. Already most of the country has 10% blend in the fuel. So when you go to fill up, you don't realize that you are using ethanol as well. We would like to go up and raise the volume of ethanol in vehicles. It can be done. The vehicles in Brazil are not modified to be flex fuels, but they're running on anything that they can make into a biodiesel. What it is we just need to still work with the public to let them know there's plenty of corn. modern technology has gone from, maybe in the 1950s, 58 bushels per acre, and we're looking at now 165 bushels per acre. So we're not taking up a lot of land, but we're growing more corn, and it's more efficient. So you're just going to see that continue, but in public opinion, we need to just educate people more about the benefits of corn and that there's plenty out there. We're not starving anybody. You don't even eat field corn anyway. I mean, it's used for all of this stuff, and the primary source is for animal feed.
If somebody wanted to find out more information, where could they go?
They can definitely go to our website, ohiocorn.org. We have all kinds of information on there, all of our initiatives, all the uses for it, how much goes towards poultry feed, livestock feed, and we keep it up to date with things that are going on in Congress. There are a lot of environmental things coming down the pike with this new administration, and we keep you up to date, sometimes have a call to action for you to be out there and call your representative as well, but we also have some information on the corn plastics too.
Thanks for being with us.
No problem, thank you.
The Koenig Care Minute, brought to you by Koenig Equipment. To maximize your equipment uptime, remember Koenig.
Welcome back to In Ohio Country Daily. With me, I have Tim Kauser with John Deere Company. Tim, tell us a little about yourself.
You bet. I'm with John Deere out of the Des Moines Works factory in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm with the tillage division.
John Deere's always rolling out new and innovative ideas to make things easier for the farm operator.
You bet, Alan. Pit Stop Pro. It's a new attachment we have to offer on the 2510H anhydrous ammonia high-speed application bar. And basically what we can do is we can hitch and unhitch an anhydrous tank without ever leaving the cab. So it's revolutionary. The anhydrous tank has not changed really since it came out. And so we can change the tank in a minute and a half. It really speeds up that process.
As we're talking about not only speeding up the process, but makes things a little bit safer for the operator as well.
Yeah, it does. That operator never having to leave the cab, that's a big price point. And what we've seen from a lot of our guys is now they can put more operators in that cab. So anybody that didn't want to apply anhydrous before now has the chance to.
Tim, as always, if somebody wants to find out more information about this product, they can go to their local dealer like Koenig Equipment and stop at one of their many locations, or where else can they go?
You bet. Deere.com has lots of video, specs, and information about these products. So,
Tim, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Alan.
The Koenig Care Minute, brought to you by Koenig Equipment. To maximize your equipment uptime, remember Koenig. Hey, that's going to do it for this week's edition of In Ohio Country Today. If you want more information on Koenig Equipment, of course, you go right to their website at koenigequipment.com or check us out on the web at inohiocountry.com. Have a good day, everybody.